The KSM Show.
In the meantime, I have a great guest in the house that I want you to meet. Are you ready to meet him? Yeah. So put your hands together and show some love for Prince Kofi Amoabeng. There we go. All right. Prince, feel free, man.
Thank you.
Are you ready to start the show? Yeah. Then put on your seatbelts and say the KSM Show.
The KSM Show.
We're back. Prince Kofi Amoabeng. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You know, let me start off with the joke I had before we spoke, you know. Somebody said, Charlie, I'm a Kofi now. Man, swat it. She started by asking me, have I seen you lately?
Yeah.
I said, no, I haven't seen Kofi since, you know, the bank crisis. After this, he goes, hey, man, swat it. Swat it.
I think it's quite loaded. He wants to tell you a whole lot of things.
Yes.
Simply, man, swat it. Yeah.
Man, swat it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that, but also
what happens is that anytime you go through some kind of eventful or crisis situation, you have to reinvent yourself and get back into life. So when the bank crisis happened, I said, well, only God knows why it should happen that way, and I have to be ready for God. So the only way to be ready for God is to make sure you are healthy and fit. Otherwise, He won't come for you. So what I did was I said my health is most important. So I went to the routine of going to the gym 2 times a week, and then to play golf at least 2 times a week, and also to change my dieting. Now I eat only once. I probably eat fruits in the morning and then dinner. And I feel better. I lost about 10 kilos. I was scared then.
You lost 10 kilos?
10 kilos.
That's
then,
a lot of weight.
Yeah, then I gained about 3 more. So
you put 3 back on.
Put 3 back on. So now I'm swati. And the interesting thing is, people see me and, oh, Kofi, how are you? And when they tell you, say, I want to pancake, you'll be woo.
Because he connected it.
Yeah.
But okay, we'll come back to how you got fit and how you're keeping fit, because I'm very interested in it. You know, I try to keep fit, you know, but sometimes Eddie. But I'm trying, you know. So now that you have tried, and I see such a big difference, man. What you have a 6-pack? It's almost.
If you look,
If you look very. So we're going to get back to this,
okay?
Because I'm very interested in the health thing. But this whole bank saga, you know, I mean, that came as a shock. And there were so many conspiracy theories. I'm sure you had plenty of them. One was that the MPP was punishing you because you sort of sponsored the NDC and they lost. So that was your punishment. The other was you actually sponsored the MPP. And now that they are back in power and you have over-sponsored and run into debt, they want to find a way to pay you back. So can you believe? The third one was how you are okay because you got the heads up. You're from Boamania. So Charlie, Kofi, we are moving in, so get ready.
Incidentally, all 3 are wrong. In the first place, I've never sponsored political parties. And I tell them that I don't sponsor political parties. I don't see what they come in to do for the country. The only person that I had sympathies for and tried to sponsor was when Dr. Frimpong Boateng was trying to stand for MPP. I went to him and I said, I think you can be a good president, but I don't think they'll vote for you. But in any case...
That when it was the flag contesting for the flag bearer.
Exactly. Now, one with the NDC, I think it's because engineers and planners or Ibrahim was our client. He has been our client for over 10 years before this. And he has always paid. And the facility was big, but it's because Bank of Ghana gave us the permission to go over the limit. So that is neither here nor there. The fact that I sponsored MPP, it can't be further from the truth. MPP because I'm an Achim man,
Yeah. and
and they are seen to be from Achim, people can't believe why Achim people come and then they will take Achim man's bank. But I will have to make this clear. When it comes to the closure of the bank, we, as the stakeholders of the bank, should be held responsible for it before the government. And I think I'm the first person people see that a company you created and you superintended is collapsed or whatever, which is true, because a lot of things happened to the point where I had to throw in the towel and say, I'm retiring. And I'm talking about rift between me and some of the shareholders, and my partner, and the board was split, and the culture that we had and the mission, we had lost it because we grew too fast and went into banking, and we probably did not, and we certainly did not reinvent ourselves into the venture we're going into. And then we lost the culture. Importantly, we lost the culture completely. The UT that we had, I mean, to do loans in 48 hours, it requires a great culture of each one supporting each other, because you have to bend the rules. You can't just do it in 48 hours. So long as the structure, the culture was there to support what the mission, were successful, and we're very successful. As soon as we grew too fast and we lost the culture because people came in to dilute it, some even came in. Interestingly enough, people wanted to join UT because of the success story. But they didn't come in to learn how UT got successful. They came with their own idea because they felt they were bankers and UT people were not bankers, so they were coming to teach us. But you were supposed to learn what makes us special and then to add your bit to it. And a whole lot of things went wrong. And the reason why I'm saying it's our fault is that I blame myself, I blame my board, my partner, some of the shareholders like IFC. We had issues with them between IFC and holdings company. Management should take some of the blame. The staff, some of them started colluding and compromising themselves and so on and so forth. And in the long run, what happens is that we had actually failed our company. Then we're at the mercy of the government. Because the government, any government had come in and UT was doing well, what could they say? They could have touched us. But we had run our company down, and therefore we're vulnerable. And therefore the government had to step in as it deems fit to correct the situation. So when people start blaming the government as in they've taken UT Bank and because of hatred.
So you take the blame?
Yeah.
Or UT must take the blame?
UT must take the blame first.
Okay.
Now, the second thing is, fine, the government found us in that situation. Was it the best route to take? Because a whole lot of things. For example, we had investors who were ready with some proposals. Bank of Ghana then decides, and again, it depends on who is telling them what and the kind of information they have. They decide that the best thing is to close down the company, or UT Bank, which I find really difficult to take. But of course, from where they are sitting, they decide that's what the best thing for the country. And I don't bear grudges, and I always keep working. But the point is, for example, if UT Bank, we owed 800 million, and an investor comes and he says, I'm ready to pay half of that, which is 400 million, and Bank of Ghana write off the 400. Then Bank of Ghana takes a decision to close UT Bank, which will cost the nation at least 2.2 billion. It doesn't make sense to me. Because it's easier to lose 400 than to lose that much. Plus, the collateral damages. You had staff who had to be furloughed for about 18 months before recently they've been paid some amount of money. Last week, I went to the funeral of one of my managers who died, and obviously died because of the pressures and things like that. I even met a staff of mine, not with the bank though, but because of things that happened, who is now selling tiger nuts on the roadside.
Really?
Those things get to me. And, you know, it's as if the government did not take their time to really evaluate and see the options that they had. And when people say that the action was to get me, then it's quite ludicrous, because me, you can't get me. I'm only one funny individual out of 7.5 billion people. If you target me, you target the wrong thing, you know. So the action was surprising because everybody knew I was very close to the finance minister, even to the president to some extent, and I was an achimma and so on and so forth. But that doesn't be the criteria for taking a decision. The criteria should be what's in the best interest of the country. The other thing that surprised me is that UT Bank was a listed company, which means it had about 15,000 shareholders who were just disenfranchised because of that action. And nothing has happened to them. Nobody listened to the story. So apart from the staff, is the shareholders, which included international companies. And UT is not like any of the banks that we're talking about. But they put all of us in a basket, and then they just bash all of us. But it's okay. It is what it is. One thing about this world is that when things are going well, that is when you have to ask God, why me?
When it's going well?
When it's going well. And that, why me, and what do you want me to do with it? It's not when it's going bad that you cry to God and say, why me? That's why I say, God, what is next? That is how.
When it's bad, you ask what is next.
Yes, when
it's
bad,
good, you ask why me?
Why me? But when it's bad, you say, what is next? You know, so it's been a big lesson. And it's
so there's talk of lack of corporate governance, you know, lack of adequate structures. Basically,
yeah. I don't think UT we had that problem. We had the corporate governance. UT wasn't for me. Between me and my partner through UT Holders, we owned 41%. We have strong institutional shareholders like IFC, like DEG, and UT is a company that international companies even admired what we had done, and they wanted to be a part of the story and to make profit in the process. And so we didn't have control of the bank as maybe some other other banks had. I couldn't on my own do a loan or do anything. And I'm a principled and structured person. I always go by systems and institutions, and I don't act in a selfish or subjective way. So the governance was there, but probably not that probably. Certainly, because it's failed means it wasn't very active or proactive to the things that happened to UT Bank. But you see, again, to touch on what you raised about the NPP giving me money because I gave them money, that's very, very funny. Because I was the last person to hear of the closure of UT Bank.
You weren't giving heads up?
Nobody told me anything. As a matter of fact, I was probably the last because I went to bed the Sunday night, and Sunday morning, we went to me crash it. I listened to CNN to catch up with world news. So 7 o'clock, I was listening to CNN with my cup of coffee. Then I went upstairs at about 8 a.m. Went to the washroom, then just flipped my phone open. And I had 63 missed calls. So I panicked. And I said, what can it be? I wasn't even thinking about the bank at all. Don't forget, I had left the bank about 20 months before that time. So the bank issues were not my issues. So I called my daughter and I said, why is everyone looking for me? And he said, aren't you listening to the news? I said, no. He said, well, it's about UT and Capital Bank. So I switched on the news, and that's when I got to know.
That's when you heard it?
Yes. Meanwhile, by 6 a.m., the government or Bank of Ghana and policemen had gone to UT premises and destroyed the signages and everything. 6 a.m. And I got to hear about it 8 a.m. Incidentally, and this one beats me because I had a call from my own brother, the Minister of Finance, the day before, that Sunday, 3 p.m., and we chatted. I asked about his wife and everything, nothing. He didn't tell me anything. Maybe because he couldn't tell me, or he shouldn't tell me, or he didn't feel like telling me. So that I was privy to what was going to happen is the furthest from the truth.
Well, the story was that you had been given heads up, and you and the top hierarchy had cleared your whatever you had to clear. Really? So, well, you have always been somebody who is able to stand shocks. This one should have shaken you. Were you shaken?
It shook me a bit, and this is how I know it shook me, because I'll be there then. It's like I've missed a heartbeat.
Wow.
So I went to my doctors, 2 young men, Bright and Michael, and I said, can you just check me all through? So they did all the various tests and said, you're okay.
You were missing a heartbeat?
Yeah,
like,
once in a while.
Once in a while.
I think I've missed a heartbeat. And they said, no, your heart is perfect, everything is perfect. So I said, can I talk to a clinical psychologist? And the issue is that I wanted to see if my mind was sound. And I wasn't going to act funny, as in think of suicide.
Were you suspecting that you were not sound, or
No,
you
I knew I was
just
sound,
wanted to
but
rule
just
it out?
recheck.
Okay.
So they called one clinical psychologist, nice lady, Erica, and she came to sit with me. And she says, and I said, I want us to have a conversation and talk to me as long as possible so that you can actually assess me if I have suicidal tendencies or something. And she laughed and says, since you have called me, certainly nothing is wrong with you. So we had a chat, and then he said, if you need me, then call me again. Unfortunately, I haven't fortunately or unfortunately, I haven't called again. You know, so
Wow.
yes, there was a bit of a shock, but I also knew that the bank was virtually gone. Because as we're reporting capital, depreciation of the capital and things, I knew all my wealth was going away. And then we started depending even on Bank of Ghana. So it's just that something you've created, and the staff and the investors, and the investors have trusted UT and me personally for a lot of people. They just said if it's Kofi Amoabeng's campaign, they will put the money. And that is what really pained me. And I said, all of a sudden, the investment is gone to zero. Sometimes, what I worry about is, of the 15,000 shareholders who owned shares in a public company, and the shares were being traded until Bank of Ghana revoked the license, not one has contemplated going to court. It shows how Ghanaians just take anything that is thrown at us. At least the shares had some value. And if the government or Bank of Ghana takes an action which makes your money just evaporate over time, I think you should test it. But they say, well, if you go to court, Kofi, the time you waste, and then they will just do this. And it pains me that because they trusted me, they've lost their lifetime investment. And again, for the staff, some of them at least worked their hearts out. And therefore, just to be left like that with that certain news was a bit painful. But it wasn't really for myself. Myself is a bit of jab at my reputation, but hey, I'm from Kukrantumi. I came to struggle to build a bank. If the government says we're taking the bank, so be it. That's not the end of my life.
Do you feel you've let people down? Like
No.
No?
At no point did I give less than the best that I could. You see, the problem with this country is that the institutions and the structures and the policies that are supposed to be there for everyone and to protect our rights have all been weakened, to say the least. So, and I also blame the regulator for being part of it, because initially when they saw that we had liquidity issues, they would have taken all sorts of measures, like appoint an advisor, or probably even bail the company out and let us pay over 5 years or 10 years. This is done everywhere. In America, everywhere, it's done. And I think UT was a company that most Ghanaians loved and identified with.
Yeah.
You know, and so any government which comes and is going to promote indigenous businesses and entrepreneurs and things should keep a few up there to say that if we support you, could be like that. But if you come and you kill the ones that have been able to come out of all these problems, then what are the young people, the up and coming, what are they supposed to look up to? And there are a lot of people that I mentor, and a lot more who say I'm their mentor, but I've never seen them. A lot of people look up to me. Sometimes I'm amazed when I go somewhere and I meet people and their reaction.
A lot.
And all of a sudden it's like, you know, we want to kill it. But as I said, the government should look at the task given to them as what's in the best interest of the people and not the best interest of Kofi Amoabeng. So this is what they think is the best, and that's what they've done.
Wow. Well, We are hanging out with PKO, and there's more to come, man. It's getting so exciting, and we're going to pause for the course. When we come back, more of PKO. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.